Dehydration, chest pain. What kind of pain can we be talking about if we are talking about dehydration, chest pain? Irene?
Well, there's actually several different things that can be the cause. One, heart attacks, which is the first thing most people think of with chest pain. The other is pneumonia or asthma or this kind of stuff that gets stuck in your lungs. Then you've got between your ribs. So you got three major items can be the source of your chest pain.
As a massage therapist, thank you for that, by the way. As a massage therapist, can a pulled muscle also be the cause of chest pain?
Yes.
Okay. And can we find ourselves dealing with dehydration, chest pain problems, including perhaps a pulled muscle? I know that I've worked with more than one person who's gone to the doctor, says, I know it's not a heart attack because the doctor already told me that it wasn't a heart attack. And so I start working, especially here in the upper pec major. Yeah, I was thinking trapezius and such, but that's not trapezius there. As I work there and as I do my work, the chest pain that they're experiencing, which could very well be, related or is seen as a heart attack, actually ends up being a pulled muscle. So the dehydration chest pain in that case came from a pulled muscle. All right. So now what I want to transition here in is what do we do when we're dealing with dehydration chest pain? Doctor?
As far as therapy, and if you're having chest pain, then the therapy is, and dehydration, the therapy is water. But actually, another question, you talked a lot about the muscle, but you did kind of allude to the other two, is that there could be a heart attack, there could be issues with your heart, and does dehydration cause heart attacks? Well, yes, it does actually. If your blood is so thick, your heart actually has to pump harder. It has to, and then there can be more blockages because it's so thick, and that if it happens inside your heart, can cause a heart attack. It has to beat faster as well. Also, pneumonias can be caused by dehydration, just because if your body is decreased of water, your mucus is going to be very, very thick, and it's going to be very difficult to actually get it out. The more that you cough, that can actually cause more of the costochondritis or the rib pain, that Miss Irene was talking about, but also pneumonia too, because if you can't get rid of that liquid, that mucus, that junk, then your lungs will continue to retain that fluid, and it can get infected, causing pneumonia.
So we've identified a variety of different ways dehydration chest pain can be had: pulled muscle, heart attack, pneumonia, and whatnot like that. Obviously, if your chest pain is due to dehydration, the obvious answer is drink water. But are there other things that we can do in order to decrease dehydration chest pain? Who would like to take that?
Sure. Well, one, making sure you're hydrated can decrease it. Eating a raw, 50% raw vegan diet will decrease any of your concerns of heart attacks or chest pains. Stretching.
Let me jump in there for just a minute. So you just said that eating a raw vegan diet will decrease any of your concerns. Did you want to adjust that perhaps a little bit? So this is the reason I'm asking is the word any. Can a very staunch vegan who is hydrated and who is watching their diet and doing everything right still have a heart attack?
Yes, they can, because guess what? Cheetos are vegan.
Well, there you go.
So what are you eating? So it does still come down to eating, but yes, they can still have a heart attack.
Sure.
But it's going to bring it way down.
Okay. Now I'm going to come back to you in just a minute as it relates to what you can do as a massage therapist to help with dehydration, chest pain. But beforehand, I'd like to come over to you, doctor, and have you kind of address this issue of what we can do to address issues if we're dealing with dehydration, chest pain.
I'm not sure if I understand your question completely. I mean, of course, if it's dehydration, chest pain, then the therapy is to drink, water, and water comes from our foods as well. And so it's all kind of, to me, it's the same thing. I don't know if I'm understanding your question correctly.
Okay, so is my only recourse if I have dehydration, chest pain, to make sure I'm drinking and keeping hydrated and eating the right foods, or are there other things that I can do to eliminate, decrease, or work with dehydration, chest pain?
Well, I don't know if this is where you're going, but the reason how I, got to know Mr. Guy and Miss Irene was because I needed to come here for my own massages. And so one thing that, because I do eat mostly a vegan diet, I do drink, plenty of water. I was still having very bad, pains in my, arms that would go all the way down to my fingers and also sometimes to my chest. And so Mr. Guy told me, well, how much are you stretching? And so I go, you know what? Maybe not as much as I should. And so, but yes. And so are you trying to go through there?
That was not my thought process, but that brings up a whole nother important point is if we are experiencing dehydration, chest pain, any type of bodily pain at all, in fact, before we start doing that, how important is stretching and whatnot in the whole process of eating right, drinking right? Does stretching have an issue? And based on what you rediscovered, what would the answer be?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, coming back over to you, Irene, as a massage therapist, if somebody comes in with dehydration, chest pain, and has already been identified by their doctor of it not being a heart attack, what can you bring to the table? Pun intended. What can you bring to the table to help them dealing with dehydration, chest pain?
Well, there's hydrotherapy. There's drinking plenty of water. I suggest lots of time to my clients. Hot and cold, soak in the tub. Water is crucial for getting there.
So you said hot and cold. You and I know what that means. But if you were giving a hydration recipe to somebody and we're talking about hot and cold, what does that mean?
Well, there are several ways of doing it. The one that's most convenient for people, and I suggest quite a bit, is you take showers, right? Okay, so you just got done taking your shower. Now you're going to do a hot and cold. You already was in hot water. So now you turn the cold on for 1 minute. Then let me think on there for a minute.
So you've got the cold for 1 minute. Does that mean it has to be all the way as far to the cold as possible, or is there a regulatory of some sort?
So, yes, because you can go polar if you are in the health condition in which you can go polar. But for the benefit, all you need is 40 degrees difference. So from your hot, it might be just slightly colder than tepid for 40 degrees difference. And as you go through the process, you may make that a little colder here and there. But you take and you've done your shower, you've done the cold, then you go back to the hot for 3 minutes, then you go to the cold for 1 minute. And you do 3 to 5 sets of those. That's going to stimulate a lot of circulation. It's going to help your brain function. It improves your immune system. It does tons of things for your body. So do those hot and colds. If you got a sore spot in your chest, let the water hit there. It's going to stimulate it. Just the water running on it's going to stimulate it. Then you're going to stimulate it by going back and forth to the hot and cold. And a lot of times that's going to loosen things up. And then it's going to be easier for me to loosen things up even more. And so working it together is a huge benefit.
Okay, so we're talking here about dehydration, chest pain. Is there anything else either of you would like to bring to the table as it relates to dehydration, chest pain?
Well, if we want or add in pneumonia, those going back and forth in the hot and cold, also from the massage standpoint, Chipotle or even the cupping of the hands and pulling the heat off the lungs.
So go ahead and with both hands, just kind of giving a...
You're just going to go like this, and you're going to cup it, and you're going to hit against the chest. And you're going to have both hands going like this.
Does it have to be a hard hit?
No, it's just a gentle catch the skin, and you're pulling the heat out of the lungs, so it would help heal it up.
In fact, I remember an individual that pulled somebody back from a serious pneumonia situation doing that. And they had this individual not stepped in and done what he did at that point, the other individual looked very much like they were on their last legs. So, yeah, there are things we can do to help when we're dealing with dehydration, chest pain. But as I'm sure you've heard before, prevention is worth a pound of cure. Mm-hmm. So if you stay hydrated, it's really the best plan forward for you. However, if you get dehydrated, there are things you can do to bring your body back to full body wellness. Is there anything else either of you would like to bring to the table? All right, so that takes care of dehydration, chest pain. Next, we're going to be talking about, and we talked a little bit about this already, but dehydration care plan. But as it relates for this video, we have now provided you our information on dehydration, chest pain.